Today's workshop considers some of the issues that researchers encounter when interacting with liturgical music manuscripts from the medieval and early modern period. When cataloging items from manuscript to database, researchers should be able to rely on at least some scribal consistency and formalized practices. The contents of many of the manuscripts that have survived into our time follow recognizable patterns and have rubrics or instructions written in red ink that provide information about when the chants were intended to be sung. Most manuscripts follow a yearly calendar order for the liturgical material they hold, often beginning either in Advent or after Easter, and it is common to find chant genres clearly labeled and ordered for particular services. For example, a certain number of antiphons, followed by a certain number of responsories, would indicate a nocturne in the office of matins. In some cases, however, historical materials have a more complicated history. Liturgical reforms required adjustments of both texts and melodies, and some even resulted in an end of life for certain manuscripts. Since parchment surfaces are durable enough to withstand scraping, chants could essentially be erased and new texts and/or notation written in their place. New owners of old manuscripts could reorder, reuse, and recopy liturgical material to put out-of-date books to a new use. These palimpsest books, a perfectly practical opportunity for recycling valuable parchment leaves and bookbindings, unfortunately create difficult quandaries for modern researchers. When creating an inventory in the Cantus Database of a book with a complex history, a number of queries emerge, including defining the layers of material, determining feasts and genres of chants, and identifying partial items or missing original material. Before descending into a quagmire of puzzling palimpsest problems, it will be useful to see the typical layout and condition of a medieval liturgical manuscript containing music and its corresponding records in the Cantus Database. Manuscript leaves like this one are what we usually find in medieval and early modern liturgical books containing music for the services of the daily office and the Mass. Although the styles of music notation and text scripts differ, the layout of the items on the pages, the order in which they are copied, and the particular items that are included in written form for each liturgical service are fairly consistent from manuscript to manuscript. For example, this manuscript leaf has a rubric at the top that clearly reads In Dedicatione Ecclesiae, for the feast of the dedication of a church. The two chants on the page begin with large decorated initials, and the genre introitus is given in red ink just before the first chant. The PS rubric for the second chant indicates that the text is from the Psalms, which is an expected source for introit verses. The text is clear and legible, and when compared with a recognized standard text in the Cantus Index catalog, we find that this is typical for the introit of the Mass. The following pages provide the other chants for the Mass of the dedication of a church in an expected order. The Gloria Patri doxology sung after the introit's psalm verse, the gradual verse, the Alleluia and its verse, and so on. Manuscript leaves like these are ideal for students or early career researchers to inventory. Although much of the Latin text and rubrics will be abbreviated, the music notation may be foreign to the less experienced reader, and there is a rather steep learning curve to grasp many aspects of medieval liturgical studies. The information that we want to capture in the Cantus Database is present and legible. The quandaries, queries, and quagmires result when expected chants are missing, the texts or notation are illegible, they are intermingled with ambiguous material or otherwise obscured. Some people love puzzles, so let the workshop begin.